Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We have made it to game day. We are about 8 hours away from kickoff in New York. Seahawks taking on the Giants in what is pretty much a must-win game for the Giants and an opportunity to really officially finally right the ship for the Seahawks. That's how I would initially characterize this one. Um, Taking them on tonight at 5:15, so keep an eye out for a post-game video shortly after the game ends, and then we'll do a little bit of a post-game stream after the game is over. Obviously, it's going to be starting pretty late, so I can't go that long, and I understand that a lot of people, especially the East Coast people, may not be able to be around for it, so hope that I see you guys there tonight anyway, whatever happens in this game. So, primetime football in New York. And there's quite a few interesting things going on with this one. The Giants have gotten off to a really bad start to the season. They have played 155 minutes of basically incompetent football. You could argue maybe the 49ers game was okay. They hung in there, but there was never any point where it felt like they were going to win. And then they had that 25-minute outburst against the Cardinals where they pulled off this historic miracle comeback. And that's been the story of them so far this year, but I I don't know if the Giants that we've seen over the first 3 weeks are the real Giants. It just doesn't feel like it's possible for them to be this bad. It doesn't feel like it's possible for them to actually be this bad. But if they lose tonight, and then they go into these next couple of games against really good teams on the road in Miami and Buffalo, then I guess they are going to be that bad because very quickly they're going to be staring 1-4, 1-5 square in the face. Not necessarily a ton they can do about it. And I'm going to say this right now, more than anything going on that Giants team, in terms of the players or the coaches or matchups or anything like that, the number one thing that concerns me as a Seahawks fan about this game is the fact that the Giants kind of have their backs to the wall here. They know this is their best chance for a few weeks to win a game. Whether or not they want to admit it or not, they know that going to Miami and going to Buffalo, that's not going to be fun in all likelihood, and it's going to be very hard to win. This is their chance. So I have a feeling we're going to catch everything the Giants can offer. We can still win, but we're getting their best shot. Now, the fact that we are going to get their best shot, I think, is represented in the fact that the Giants did everything they could to try to get Andrew Thomas and Saquon Barkley back for this game. Now, it looks like they failed. No Andrew Thomas and no Saquon Barkley, so that offense might be as bad as advertised through 3 games, where, again, they have been completely inept for about 155 minutes. They didn't play well against the Niners or the Cowboys. And then for that 25-minute span against the Cardinals, they found the Michael's magic stuff or whatever. But without Saquon and without Andrew Thomas, you are looking at a team with a decent quarterback, an interesting quarterback, a quarterback with some skills, some really nice tools. He's got a good arm. He's got good mobility. He uses his legs well. Not so far this year, but generally speaking, he can. And can't completely put it together in a package that gives you a true franchise quarterback. I know he got paid like a franchise quarterback, but I think that generally speaking, we're still waiting to see him put it together for an extended period of time. We've seen him have good games. He's capable of having a very good game. And I think that's best represented in his arm. He has the arm to make big plays down the field, but so often it seems like he doesn't have the confidence to actually launch it. And last year was his best year in the NFL by far, running a pretty simplified offense, simplified playbook, kept things very, very safe, away from turnovers. DeBoll did a great job constructing an offense around him and making things simple for him and allowing him to win games and get it done and perform without having to make a ton of big-time plays Mahomes style. But this season, you're seeing that start to wilt a little bit because he's not getting such fortuitous opportunities anymore. His defense is not playing lights out. He's not getting a ton of support from the running game. and we're starting to see a little bit more of what the Daniel Jones was back in 2021, 2020, and it's starting to look like this could end messily. This could end up ending very messy, particularly given the fact that they already extended him big money. So you've got that situation going on here. You have an interesting quarterback who's capable of doing good things, but I don't know if you can call him good right now. You've got a backup running back, Matt Breida, who I like. I like Matt Breida, but limited player. He's not going to give you anything over the top, and they kind of need over the top right now because of the limitations of the rest of their offense. So no Saquon, and by the way, I know technically he's doubtful, but I would be shocked if he played, and if he does play, he probably won't be that effective. It's just hard to figure out what happens here. That receiving core, I mean, they last season they find their way through with a very lackluster receiver core. They simplify the offense, like I said. They keep things very basic, and they don't lean heavily on their receivers, so they can get away with having not stellar guys out there. A pretty lackluster receiver core. And then this offseason, supposedly they spend a lot of time trying to address the problem, but so far, you look at those receivers on the Giants and you'd swear they didn't do anything in the offseason. Jalen Hyatt's nice, but so far we haven't seen a lot from him yet. He's kind of a deep threat, and Daniel Jones in this offense doesn't seem to embrace the deep threat all that well. So we're just kind of sitting here waiting for Jalen Hyatt to start getting involved to a level commensurate with his draft status and the fact that the Giants were obviously counting on him. And it's the same kind of really lackluster group of receivers. It's kind of weird how this was obviously the weakness going into the offseason. It seems like they did stuff to address it, and yet here they are with Darius Slayton and Isaiah McKenzie and a couple of no-name guys, still leaning heavily on guys like that. Wan'Dale Robinson is obviously a guy they're hoping will break out at some point. They're hoping that some in-house stuff comes through, but as of right now, it's not happening. And it's not a receiver core that is really going to threaten you. Their best receiving threat is Darren Waller, and he's certainly not Travis Kelce or George Kittle or anything like that. He's a good player. And most damning of all, this offensive line with no Andrew Thomas does not have a single good player on it right now. Evan Neal is playing really badly. PFF hates him. The eye test hates him. Everything hates him. John Michael Schmitz is off to a really bad start. That's understandable. He's a rookie, but he's not playing that well right now. The replacement for Andrew Thomas is not a particularly good player, which you wouldn't expect. He's a backup. You're going to have to protect him a lot, but everybody on this offensive line needs to be protected. Mark Lewinsky already basically got benched for Bredesen, I believe his name is, and he's actually their best guy maybe, and he's not that good. So this is an offensive line that doesn't have anything solid to lean on. It's a terrible offensive line. So you put all this stuff together, and yeah, this is just a bad offense right now. Until they get a monstrous breakout from a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson as a third down receiver, then there's just really nothing to speak of on this offense that scares you. The only interesting dimension here to me is what Daniel Jones can do with his legs. We have not had to deal with that yet this season. We've dealt with three fairly immobile quarterbacks. Now we're dealing with Daniel Jones, who can not only move around in the pocket, but take off and run for big yards if he needs to. So that's the one thing on this Giants offense that I look at and go, yeah, that could be a problem because it comes in bursts. Daniel Jones can take off and run for a 60-yard run, and then boom, they're in the red zone. Boom, they're scoring a touchdown that they didn't have to work that hard to get because it was just one big play mostly. And now suddenly, oh no, because I kind of got a feeling this is going to be a low-scoring game. But other than that, we're going to have Woolen and Witherspoon out there. Those guys should be able to lock down on the receivers because they're not great receivers. Should be able to handle their business there. We're getting Jamal Adams back. That should help against the run. And I'm sure the Giants are going to try to establish the run even without Saquon because they need to do something to reduce the turnovers because that's the one thing that's really going wrong so far this year. Last year, Daniel Jones barely turned the ball over at all. So far this year, he's at 4 interceptions. I think he had 5 all of last season. So they're going to try to find a way to limit the turnovers, even if it means running into a brick wall a lot and then punting. So I'm definitely looking at Jamal Adams to see what effect he can have on this run defense that is already playing really well. But generally speaking, this is an opportunity for every single pass rusher on this team to have a monster game every time Daniel Jones drops back, because look at these edge rushers. I'm sorry, look at this offensive line. So Uchenna Nwosu, Boye Mafe, Darrell Taylor, Derek Hall if he plays, which he probably will, Draymond Jones if he plays, Jaron Reed, Miles Adams, Mario Edwards, every single person on this team that will rush the quarterback at some point in this game. This is your opportunity to put up stats. This is your opportunity to put up numbers, because obviously Daniel Jones is going to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly, because he knows his offensive line is no good right now, and he knows that he's going to have a hard time challenging down the field, because he in general just doesn't like doing that. And you're kind of throwing into the strength of this defense with these cornerbacks and with Quandre Diggs back there protecting the deep stuff. So if this defense plays aggressively, which we talk about it every week, and every week they make little strides towards it, but this is a great week to play aggressively, and if that happens, you're going to have opportunities to get to the quarterback all game long. So I do think this Giants offense right now is about as bad as advertised. They're one of the worst offenses in the league through 3 games, and I think that we can maintain that level of play for them. I think we can keep them to maybe a 10 or 13 point game, even with this defense having issues stopping the pass. A lot of that is situational, and a lot of that is against teams that are at least somewhat better than what the Giants have to offer. In some cases, a lot better than what they have to offer. And the defense may need to do that, because if there's one side of the ball where I think the Giants are better than they've looked, it's probably their defense. Probably the Giants' defense is not a bottom 3 unit, but statistically so far they have been. They've given up a ton of points to the Cowboys. They've given up a ton of points to the Cardinals and the Niners. I think they're like 30th in points allowed or something like that. I don't think they're that bad. I think they're playing that bad, but I think they've been put in a lot of bad situations by turnovers. They've had pick sixes. They've had blocked kicks get returned. And it's hard to be a good defense when you have a bad offense at the end of the day. When your offense is going 3 and out or turning the ball over, it's hard. So this defense isn't that bad. And at home, with their back against the wall, I expect them to come out with something better. And I'm also very aware of the fact that our interior offensive line is a little bit of a question mark. I know Phil Haynes is good to go, but he missed some practice this week, and Evan Brown, can't be 100% sure about him, even though I do think he will play as well. That is the one undeniable strength of this Giants team. They've got Leonard Williams and they've got Dexter Lawrence down there. Both those guys are elite players. So that front defensive line is excellent. Everything else about them so far this year has not looked particularly good. I do think they have some good players. I like Xavier McKinney. I like Adoree Jackson. I like McFadden, one of their inside linebackers. But everything else just kind of isn't coming together. And it's weird because they didn't lose that much from last season in theory. But they tried to plug Deonte Banks in, and Deonte Banks has been very lackluster so far. You wouldn't I don't think you can put too much on him. He is a rookie. But at the same time, Witherspoon's looked a lot better than he has, I think. And Witherspoon's a rookie too. Witherspoon missed almost all of training camp in the preseason. So that can't totally be the excuse. Thibodeau's had a really rough start to the season so far. He hasn't looked good at all. And there were concerns about Thibodeau when he was drafted. So those concerns may be coming to fruition. It's possible. So it's possible that Thibodeau is just starting to head down a bad path here for the Giants. He might not become the player we thought he was going to become. He might become he might go down that Deion Jordan, Aaron Curry path a little bit here. So far, it's been bad. Like rookie season, pretty good. This season, can't stop the run. Not really effective as a pass rusher all that much either. So that's not going well. Ojulari, who I know he's injured, but I expect him to play in this game, hasn't been great this year either. And he was a guy that I remember I was pretty high on in college. So the overall defense on this Giants team just I don't think they're terrible. And I do think we're going to get their best shot here. But what this really comes down to is the blitz of the Giants with Wink Martindale against Geno Smith and his ability to keep on top of it. So Wink Martindale loves to blitz. He blitzed the crap out of Brock Purdy last week. Didn't work very well. I don't think he blitzed very effectively, but whether it's effective or not, Wink Martindale lives and dies by the blitz. He loves the blitz. So Wink Martindale is definitely going to be sending pressure Geno Smith's way from unconventional places. So to me, this game comes down very much to, can Geno Smith identify the blitz? Can he find the audibles? Can he find the hot routes and get the ball out of his hands to beat the blitz and create big plays that way? If he can do that, I don't think there's going to be that much that can go wrong. I think we'll be able to run the ball as long as we keep running to the outside, keep doing these zone-based runs. I think Walker and Charbonnet will be fine. But what are we going to do on third down? So far, we've been a bad team on third down. So we're going to need to be able to pick up these third down blitzes that Wink is going to send and then beat it. So JSN, that's your cue. That's the bat signal for JSN. Bat signal for DK, who's going to be spending a decent amount of this game against a rookie. Deonte Banks has already tweeted talking about needing to go up against DK. Needs to put on his cape or something like that. So that's an opportunity for DK to do some damage. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think that we've got the right recipe here. I think that if you're worried about anything on that Giants defense, because I can't be that worried about the blitz, because at the end of the day, Geno's proven that he's pretty good at that pre-snap stuff. So I can't say I'm concerned about it until it actually becomes a problem. It would obviously have to be that interior defensive line against our interior offensive line. And while I trust Geno, how much can you trust Jake Curhan and Stone Forsythe to execute the blitz pickups when they come? Because as much as those guys have played pretty decently through a couple games, they are backups, they are limited players, and if you lean too heavily on them, you will eventually get burned. But overall, I'm expecting this team to take care of business. I said something like 20-10 or 20-13. I think that feels right. Low-scoring game. Giants defense comes up with a good effort, but I think our defense can pretty much shut down that offense without Saquon and Andrew Thomas. Really cool stuff, by the way, coming from Jamal Adams this week, opening up about life after the injury last year. So look into that if you haven't already. I will see you guys later tonight after the game, maybe a video before then. Peace out. Go Hawks.